Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Jai Jagannatha, Jaya Jagannatha, Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jaya Jaya. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya, Prabhupada, Jaya. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai. Shri Hari Ram Sankirtan Ki. What do you want to say? You can give Prabhuji some chair. First of all, I would like to thank Rajanath Prabhu and Champa Gopi Mataji for opening their homes to all of us. Let's express our gratitude by loudly chanting 3 times. Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And also like to thank gratitude to all of you that you have taken your time. Though it's a working day, I know tomorrow is off, but thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chalakayam Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamisham Shri Rupam Sagrajadam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamisham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacham Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today is actually a very auspicious day of Guru Purnima, which is also the disappearance day of Sri Sanatana Goswami. In Vrindavan, Sanatana Goswami is regarded as the spiritual master for all the people. So especially in Vrindavan, they celebrate Sanatana Goswami's disappearance day now as Guru Purnima. In the Vaishnava Sampradayas, all the Vaishnava Sampradayas, spiritual master has a very special, significant place because one cannot attain any success without the mercy of the spiritual master. Nayam Atma Balahinena Labhya. One cannot attain any form of self-realization or success in any form of self-realization or God-realization without the mercy of Bala, that is Baladev, who is actually the original Guru Tattva. So, in our Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, we celebrate this as Vyas Puja. So Guru Purnima is actually the appearance day of Vyasdev, the original, you can say Guru in our Sampradaya, who every Guru represents the Vyasdev. In fact, when the Guru speaks from a dais, that dais is also called Vyaspeeth or Vyasgaddi. So, spiritual master truly represents in our life the presence of Shri Baladev and of course the whole Guru Parampara. Srila Prabhupada said, especially we should surrender to spiritual master using our intelligence. Now, I remember in our school days we had a lesson, some anecdote. That there was a teacher and he had many disciples. Of course, this was mainly highlighting about how one should not have foolish disciple, but you know. So this guru was having many disciples, and they were traveling, and the guru gives instruction. You know, if anything from our entourage falls, you should pick up. So guru was riding on a horse. So horse is passing stool, so they pick up the stool also, thinking that guru has given instruction, so we should pick up everything, anything that falls from our entourage. You know. So they bring it to guru, and guru said, "What is this nonsense? I told you, this is not something that we pick up. We should use our intelligence, right?" So they said, "But how do we know how to use our intelligence?" He said, "Okay, unless I tell you, don't pick up. You tell me. If I observe, it's okay, and if unless I tell you, don't pick up." So just going little forward, and the horse little, got scared because some snake came on the way, and just went little high, and guru fell from the horse and fell unconscious. So because guru didn't say that pick up, they continue to walk. So not this kind of disciple, we have to use our intelligence. Prabhupada actually said you should not surrender your intelligence to guru, because especially what happens in Kali Yuga is, if you do not use your intelligence, there are a lot of bogus people who take the role of guru as well. So if you don't use your intelligence, you can get cheated. So Prabhupada said, don't surrender your intelligence. Surrender to spiritual master using your intelligence. So this is a very significant lesson. Srila Prabhupada encouraged his disciples to ask questions. If you have doubts, ask questions. Don't just agree to whatever spiritual master says. Krishna also says in Bhagavad Gita, Pariprashnena sevaya. One should render service to Guru, but you should also ask questions. If you have doubts, you should ask questions to a spiritual master. And upadekshandi te jnanam. And through the upadesh, through the instructions, Guru can actually impart the sublime wisdom that is essential for understanding our relationship with Krishna. So Guru Tattva is actually a very intricate subject matter. Yesterday actually, somebody was asking me in the temple that, first of all, in our ISKCON society, he said, I was thinking the Guru means where I can actually approach a person and should be having, if I have any doubt, I can ask him. And actually that's true. That is the actual Vedic system. A disciple and guru, they have very close and intimate relationship with each other. So disciple is supposed to approach a guru and ask guidance. But given in our situation, this devotee was asking, given in our situation, we don't have that facility. Our spiritual masters, whomever we are aspiring from or we are initiated by, we don't have practically any contact with them. So how do I understand that do I really need to take initiation, or do I really have any relationship with the Guru? So if you see, it is not something unusual. Srila Prabhupada hardly met, couple of times with his spiritual master, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur. Not that he was going every now and then and associating with Bhaktisiddhanta Thakur and asking questions from him. No. Only couple of brief association. Similarly, if we see our own spiritual master, Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he hardly had couple of interaction with his own guru, Srila Prabhupada. No. So, given in our situation, a spiritual master may not have time. No. Now, just imagine there are actually so many bona fide spiritual masters in our constitution, but there are so many devotees who are aspiring to take initiation from, right? And the number of gurus that we have is very small compared to the number of devotees that we have. And devotees want to take initiation from some particular guru, and the guru knows the principle that I'm not supposed to be just initiating disciples because they want to take initiation from me, just to increase the number of disciples. If I'm not able to spend time with them, then I rather don't. But if he refuses, the devotees who are aspiring, they feel very much discouraged. So in order to encourage, they accept more number of disciples, simply to encourage them to be connected with Guru Parampara. But how is it possible for one guru to spend the time with so many disciples, right? With so many number of devotees. Even if he spends, just one hour, say for example, with all the disciples, and disciples are spread in so many different locations, even 1 year will be not sufficient. So, therefore, in our Gaudiya Sampradaya, we have the examples of Guru. If he is not able to personally take care of the disciple, he makes arrangement. You see, some of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were not very scholarly. Like Loknath Goswami, he sent his disciple Narottam Das Thakur under the care of Jiva Goswami to get trained. So the responsibility of Guru is to make sure that the disciples are taken care of. They are nurtured in Krishna consciousness. If they have any concerns or questions or doubts, somebody should be able to clarify them. So Guru may train few, and he may employ them to train further few. In this way, he may take care of the disciples. And that care is non-different from Guru personally taking charge of the disciples. So this is from practical perspective. Practically speaking, Guru is responsible for the spiritual life and nurturing the disciples. It's not compulsory that one has to be in personal contact with the spiritual master, which will not be possible for everyone in our given current situation. But the initiation or taking diksha from a guru is something that makes us connected with Krishna. Srila Prabhupada give example. We have powerhouse somewhere, right? And these bulbs or the tube lights that we have in this room, they are connected with that powerhouse through the transmission lines, through the electric wires. So, this Guru Parampara is like the transmission line, which connects one with the powerhouse that is Krishna. So our life becomes illuminated because of Parampara. If you're not, one may think, oh, I don't need any Guru. If you don't need Guru, means you're not connected with powerhouse. You don't have any transmission lines connected to. No. So, in order to truly illuminate our life with spiritual wisdom, with Krishna consciousness, it is essential that one must take initiated from a bona fide spiritual master with this proper understanding. So this is actually the significance. I mean, many times devotees come with these questions. So I thought, this will be most appropriate time to understand the principle. Because yesterday this devotee was asking, he said, I have been practicing Krishna consciousness for 10 years, but I'm still not convinced that I should take initiation. Which actually makes sense, That's what it was a system. So, we take initiation because without initiation, There are instructions in the scriptures. One may be chanting the mantras, you know, without the connection with the spiritual master. Mantra nishphala bhave. The mantra is not really potent or does not bear the true result until one is initiated by a spiritual master. So Sanatana Goswami, whose disappearance day is also today, he is actually one of the very intimate associates, direct disciples of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. So Sanatana Goswami was the eldest of all the 6 Goswamis. Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they were 2 brothers born in a very high class Saraswat Brahman family. There were 3 brothers, Rup, Sanatan and Shri Vallabha. They were all 3 very dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, they were not only highly learned, but they were actually very efficient as well. Almost 500 years ago, when Rupa and Sanatan, they were actually from southern part of India, but they moved to Bengal. So in West Bengal, the king of the Bengal was a Muslim, Nawab Hussain Shah. Seeing the efficiency of these 2 brothers, he wanted to recruit them as his ministers. Srila Prabhupada actually explains in this regard that most of the Muslim kings, if you see, they employed Hindus as their ministers because they couldn't trust the Muslims. You'll see the Muslim history is filled with, brother killing the brother or son killing the father to occupy the throne. So they could never trust, Muslims. They would generally employ some Hindu, and especially Hindu Brahmanas, because you see, especially a Brahmana is very learned in the scriptures, and Brahmanas, they're actually very conscious. They're conscious of the principles of karma. And just like Chanakya Pandit says, Matravat paradhareshu paradraveshu loshtravat atmavat sarva bhuteshu ya pashyati sa pandita. A pandita or a learned Brahmana is one who sees matravat paradhareshu. He sees every other woman other than his own wife, he sees them as mother. Matravat paradhareshu paradraveshu. He sees others' wealth as garbage, as a stones lying on the street. Atmavat sarvabhut. He sees every living entity as his own self. He treats every living entity as he would like himself to be treated. So, because the Brahmana knows that if I try to plunder others' property, I'll be implicated karmically. So they try to live a very simple life. They don't try to encroach upon others. So therefore, Muslim kings, they used to employ generally the Brahmanas, Hindu Brahmanas. Because Brahmanas were very learned and they will live the life of integrity. And they would guide also the king. So, Nawab Hussain Shah saw these 2 brothers were highly competent. So he actually forced them to take employment. Because in those days, if a Hindu Brahmana took the employment under a Muslim, he was considered a Muslim. You don't have to do any conversion or accept religion. You will be simply regarded as Muslim. So of course, Rupa and Sanatan actually refused initially. But King Nawab Hussain Shah threatened them that if you do not accept my employment, then I will persecute the Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. So out of, concern and care for the Brahmanical class, and the Vaishnavas, these 2 brothers actually accepted the employment under Nawab Hussain Shah. You can just imagine. And the same Brahmanas, they ostracized these two brothers as Muslim because they were serving under Nawab Hussain Shah. But anyway, uh, Rupa and Sanatan, they were learned in many, many languages. They knew Parsi language, you know. They knew Urdu, they knew Sanskrit, they knew many, many languages. They were highly learned scholars. And they were learned in the Vedic scriptures as well. But because they were serving the Muslim king, even their names were changed into Sanatan Goswami was changed to Sakar Malik, and Rup Goswami was made into Dabir Khas. So their names were also changed to Muslim names. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he was living in Jagannath Puri. He decided to visit Vrindavan. And that time, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although from Nilachal, because Lord Chaitanya started from Jagannath Puri to go to Vrindavan. So, Ramkeli is the village where these two brothers used to live. That doesn't come on the way. But Lord Chaitanya took a detour to go to Ramkeli because these two brothers used to write a lot of letters to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They had heard about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, had taken sannyas, so they used to write letters to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And seeing the subject matter of those letters, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could understand that these two brothers have such great humility. He could understand their heart from those letters. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took the detour especially to come and meet Rupa and Sanatan in Ramkeli. And that time Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was followed by hundreds and thousands of followers because people already understood that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is actually the Supreme Lord. So thousands of people were following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he was heading towards Vrindavan. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Ramkeli, these two brothers secretly came to meet him. Why secretly? Because you see, in those days, Muslim kings, they used to persecute Hindu sages or saintly persons. So they didn't want that king should know that there is some saintly person had come to his kingdom. No. So Rupa and Sanatana actually went to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Ramkeli. And Lord Chaitanya told them that people are actually asking me why I have come to this village of Ramakeli. But I have specially come to meet you two brothers because you have written so many letters to me. From there I could understand both of your heart. No. So Rupa and Sanatan, they told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially Sanatan Goswami, he told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that, my dear Lord, although the Muslim king has some reverence towards you, but he is still a Yavana and not trustworthy. Therefore, you should not stay here for very long. You should leave. And, my dear Lord, you are going to Vrindavan. And Vrindavan is a secluded place. Sanatan Goswami told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my dear Lord, you are going to Vrindavan. And Vrindavan is a secluded place. You are going with thousands of followers there. This is not the way one goes to Vrindavan. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this concern from Sanatan Goswami. And he went a little ahead, and then considering Sanatan Goswami's advice, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't go to Vrindavan, but he returned back to Nilachal. So that was the first meeting of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Rupa and Sanatan Goswami. And after that meeting, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had actually inspired Rupa and Sanatan Goswami to retire from their kingly, from their royal duties and join in Vrindavan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually sent a message to these two brothers that they can retire from their royal duties and go to Vrindavan. And he will come and meet them there in Vrindavan. So Rupa and Sanatan, they both decided to quit their position as the ministers. They had so much wealth. King had given him so much wealth. So Rupa Goswami, he submitted his VRS, voluntary retirement, and king immediately accepted it. He let him go. No. So after Rupa Goswami was gone, uh, Sanatan Goswami, he submitted the petition and his petition was not accepted. So king demanded that he continue. Rupa Goswami already left to Vrindavan. He went to Vrindavan. Now, Sanatan Goswami's his petition was not accepted. So he, on the pretext of sick leave, stayed at home. So devotees also do that. It's not something unusual. It's coming in parampara. So Sanatan Goswami, he employed few brahmanas to sit in his home and read Srimad Bhagavatam. He was simply listening Srimad Bhagavatam in the association of brahmanas. So when he sent sick leave petition to king felt concerned. He's my, one of my, excellent ministers. So he sent some physician, some doctors. And physician came and he said, Sanatana Goswami is perfectly all right, doesn't have any sickness. So he went and told the king that Sanatana Goswami is perfectly fine. He's sitting and hearing Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam. So the king personally came, and the Brahmanas were actually reciting Bhagavatam that time. So they all stood up and welcomed the king. And the king told Sanatana Goswami, I sent my physician and he came and he said, you are perfectly fine. You said you are sick, but they said you are perfectly fine. And you are sitting and simply hearing Bhagavatam here. Said, the king told Sanatana Goswami that you have to immediately come back. I have so many plans, to conquer different countries. And here you are spoiling my plans. So you should immediately join back. So Sanatana Goswami very respectfully, he told the king, my dear king, I am afraid I don't think I can anymore continue serving you. The king became very angry. He said, do you know the consequences? He said, I know, you are the king. You are the representative of the Supreme Lord. This is how Sanatana Goswami saw. Even if he's a Yavana king, because he's in the position of the king, he's actually representative of the Supreme Lord. Because king is considered Naradeva. Naradeva means Deva, the Supreme Lord, in the form of a Nara, in the human being. Because a king is empowered by the Supreme Lord. His vibhuti is actually descended in that king. Therefore, he is able to rule. So he said, you are representative of the Lord and you can give me whatever punishment you give, I'll accept it. But I'm afraid I cannot, continue my services. So the king left in angry mood and he sent soldiers to arrest Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami was put into prison. So after some time, king was leaving for, attacking Odisha. So he came to Sanatana Goswami in the prison and he said, I'm going to conquer the Odisha. You come with me. I'll be rewarding you amply. You just come with me. And Sanatana Goswami said, you are going to attack Odisha. You are going to give pain to Lord Jagannath and his Vaishnavas. I cannot cooperate with you. I'm sorry. The king became very angry and he again put the Sanatana Goswami in prison and he left. Now Sanatana Goswami was in prison. So Rupa Goswami, when he left, he actually divided all his wealth because they had so much wealth. Both the brothers had so much wealth. Of course, Sanatana Goswami's wealth was all confiscated by the king because he's put into the prison. But Rupa Goswami had, taken all his wealth, which was actually, practically the boat full of, gold. So he had divided all his wealth. Most of his wealth he gave in charity to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. A major chunk. Prabhupada says 50% of his wealth he actually gave away to Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. 25% he distributed to his family and relatives. And remaining 25% he kept for his emergencies. So of that 25%, he had deposited 7,000 gold coins to a local merchant. You know, he had left with him that in case if I need ever in the future, I will collect it from you. Of course, in those days, people were honest. They used to, you could trust them. You could leave the money. 7,000 gold coins you could leave. Nowadays, if you leave in 7 gold coins, you're not sure if you will get it back. So, the local merchant had those 7,000 gold coins from Rupa Goswami. Now, Sanatana Goswami is in the prison. So, Rupa Goswami sent a message to Sanatana Goswami that I have deposited 7,000 gold coins with the local merchant. If you want, you can use that money to get yourself relieved from the prison. So Sanatana Goswami, now king is already gone. He's gone to conquer Odisha. So Sanatana Goswami started having conversation with the prison keeper. Of course, prison keeper was just a subordinate, some point of time with to Sanatana. Sanatana Goswami was a big minister, right? So Sanatana Goswami started telling the prison keeper that, my dear sir, you are, Muslim, and I am, I actually refuse the king because I want to go to Mecca. Mecca is a holy place for Muslims. Mecca, Medina, right? So he said, I want to go to Mecca and dedicate my life in the service of Allah. So if you release me, you will be helping me to be released from this material world and attain the abode of Allah. So you will actually accumulate immense pious credits. But the Muslim prison keeper, he was not convinced. Pious, kya karna hai? Piety? I don't care for piety. So, Sanatana Goswami arranged 5,000, 7,000 gold coins. He arranged 5,000 gold coins and he put in front of me. He said, please take these 5,000 gold coins. If you release me, you will also accumulate piety, because I'll go and dedicate my life in the service of God. And you will also earn money. So now, this prison keeper, he started arguing, but I understand your point, but if the king asks me, I'll be in trouble, Even though I may have money, but king will put me in the prison. What will be the use of that money? Sanatana said, no, don't worry. When the king asks, just tell him that you took Sanatan to riverside, to Pastool, and seeing the river, Sanatan, who was shackled, he held all the iron chains in his hand and legs. He jumped into the river and he was swept away by the current, and I think he drowned. I didn't see him coming on the surface. And then Sanatana Goswami put 2,000 more gold coins, all the 7,000 gold coins in front of him. So, seeing this, actually Sanatana Goswami told him, in fact, you are actually a Zinda Peer, you are like personified, saintly person. So please take the 7,000 gold coins also and release me, and you will attain piety also. And hearing the argument from Sanatana Goswami, he got convinced. Okay, I can give this argument to king. So he accepted and he released Sanatana Goswami. So in this way, Sanatana Goswami actually gave bribe. So, and use even bribery in the service of the Lord to get released from the imprisonment. In fact, in our ISKCON movement, there were many devotees who were actually imprisoned, especially during Mumbai case, Mumbai's Jews case. A lot of devotees were imprisoned. I remember one, of course, Giraj Maharaj has narrated his beautiful, whole book he has written on Jew episode, but I remember one devotee, Prabhupada disciple, his name is Adi Purush Prabhu. He lives in North Carolina. So he was narrating his experience because he was also somehow involved in Jew case. So he was narrating that he joined in Michigan, in Detroit. So he joined in Detroit and he was hardly 16 or 17 years old boy that time. In those days, Prabhupada made a rule that every temple has to give one devotee in the service of Sridham Mayapur, because Prabhupada wanted to develop Mayapur temple. So every temple has to send one devotee to Mayapur. So this Adi Purush Prabhu, he was sent from Michigan temple to Mayapur. But he took a flight to Mumbai and thought from Mumbai I will go to Mayapur. So he took a couple of days halt in Mumbai. So when he came to Mumbai, that time there was a lot of conspiracies going on and a lot of war practically was going on with this landowner for the Jew. And he was tied up with local politicians and he was trying to give a lot of tough time to devotees. So Adi Purush was explaining that when he landed in Jew, and his plan was just 2 days he will stay in Jew and then he will go to Mayapur. His train ticket was booked and everything was done. So he he was telling that time in Jew campus there were some tenants who were living. So one of the tenants who was living in the Jew campus inside, he was out that time and people were, the local politician, this Mr. Nair, he had sent some local politician and gundas to destroy the temple. So the devotees closed the gates. They were not letting anyone to come inside. So this tenant, he wanted to come inside because his home is inside. So he tried to climb on the wall and jump inside. And when he jumped, he actually fell, with his head down and hurt himself very badly. So devotees took him to the hospital, and somehow that he died in the hospital. So the politician got a good excuse. Okay, now we have got a good case. So he arranged some 5-6 false witnesses saying that we saw 6 devotees actually beat this person to death. So one of them was Adi Purush Prabhu. He was accused to be to be the person who actually beat the person to death. So 6 devotees were put in jail. He was of course telling the detail that they said Giriraj Maharaj was also one of them, the 6 accused. But Giriraj Maharaj was out of town that time. He had train ticket. He was gone out of Mumbai. So when they were brought in front of judge, Giriraj Maharaj showed that I have ticket. I was not even in the town. They are speaking lies. So judge asked them, and the judge asked actually the local politician, you want to put anyone else in place of him? So even judge was tied up with them. Right in the court, he's saying, you want to replace him with somebody else? So they brought somebody else, released Giriraj Maharaj. Feel like laughing, but this is reality. So they were put in the jail. So they asked Prabhupada, they are asking some huge sum of money for the bail. Prabhupada says, no need of bail. Just in the jail, preach to everyone. So Adi Prabhu was saying that all the 6 devotees, first day when they were put in the jail, the jailkeeper, they brought them food, which was actually all non-veg food. They said, we can't eat this. We strictly eat only prasad. So they brought some vegetarian food to them. Please eat this. We cannot eat this also. We eat only prasad. So where do we get prasad? He said, from temple. So say, no, temple, there's no question. You are in the jail. You cannot get food from the home, And so they said, no, we will not eat then. It's okay. So they didn't eat. All the 6 devotees didn't eat anything for the first day. Second day, they again brought vegetarian food. They didn't eat. So that the police got really worried that if they die or somebody gets sick, we'll be in trouble. So they said, okay, we will let you bring the food from the temple. So they sent a message to the temple. So there were only 6 of them, but Giriraj Maharaj, he arranged, bucket of everything, bucket of rice, bucket of dal, sabji, puris. So there was 2 sabjis, dal, rice, puris, halwa, and kheer. So they brought the whole feast. And these devotees were preaching right from the first day. They were having Bhagavad Gita class, kirtan in the jail. And after the whole program, everybody, all the prisoners and even police people came and they started eating prasad. And this became daily affair. Morning, evening, 2 times prasad would come from the temple. So devotees told the police that, no, we want to do arti also. Can we get arti parfanlyas? He said, no fire, nothing. We cannot get you fire and all. But then devotees, they had heard from Prabhupada, that you can do manas puja, right? So the devotees, they put a picture on the wall and started doing manas arti. So they were just waving the incense. There was no incense. They started waving the ghee lamp, and they would take the ghee lamp to everyone. Everybody take the arti also. And seeing their sincerity, the police people, they got so inspired. They say, okay, arrange the arti plate also. So they were having arti every day in the morning and evening. They were having Bhagavad Gita in the morning, Bhagavatam class in the morning, Bhagavad class in the evening. They were having 2 times feast in the jail. And they were kept in the jail for 2 weeks till the time the case was being persecuted. After 2 weeks, they found, that they had no proof, so they had to let them go. So 2 weeks, the devotees were put into the jail. And Prabhupada told them, there's no need of bail. You just stay in the jail and continue there. So Adi Purush was saying, he said, I have done so much preaching. I have eaten so many feasts. But those 2 weeks of my life were the best time of my life. So actually speaking, for a devotee, whether prison or, no prison, doesn't make any difference. Because devotees can, practice Krishna consciousness anywhere. So they're not really worried. But Sanatana Goswami had a mission. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted him to join him in Vrindavan. And Lord Chaitanya had a lot of services for Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan. Therefore, he paid the money and got released. And then he started traveling to Varanasi, because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that time was in Varanasi. So he wanted to go and meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And on the way, his servant Ishan, he joined Sri Sanatana Goswami. So Ishan was servant in the house of Sanatana Goswami. So he came and joined, and he started traveling with Sanatana Goswami, assisting and serving him. Because in family servants, they used to be very loyal. So this Ishan was also very loyal servant of Sanatana Goswami. So he started traveling with him. So Ishan was carrying 8 gold coins, which he didn't tell to Sanatana Goswami. He thought that, I will keep these gold coins and I'll help whenever my master needs him. And then, of course, he had gold coins from Sanatana Goswami only at some point of time. So he was carrying the 8 gold coins. So in the night time, they reached to a lodge or a hotel. So Sanatana Goswami, he went to the hotel keeper and he said, I want a room. So this hotel keeper had an astrologer who could predict who had how much money. So simply by looking at the face, he could say that who had how much money. Some people are actually, good at that skill. I remember when I used to live in New Vrindavan. I remember when I used to live in New Vrindavan, There was one person who was kind of you know in charge for raising Lakshmi for the temple. You know, so and I never had any experience of raising money. I never had even ever thought of in my life that I want to raise any money for any temple or anything. So he said, I'll teach you how to do it. So he said, whenever a person comes to temple, see if he has a ring and a chain, and he was training me that. I said, what? You're supposed to look at that? Anyway, I could never follow him. So my wife actually, she knew him, this devotee from Mumbai. So she said, Prabhu, were you used to look at my mom and dad also like that? So he felt a little embarrassed. But Sanatana Goswami, you know, he didn't know that his servant was carrying 8 gold coins. So this lodge keeper, he, through this astrologer, got to know that the servant has 8 gold coins. So he became extra nice with uh, Sanatana Goswami. You know. Now Sanatana Goswami, he was a minister. So he knew diplomacy. So he's thinking, why this lodge keeper is so nice with me? Right? Because you see, if somebody has served as a diplomat, he can actually understand. So Sanatana Goswami, he asked his servant Ishan, he said, Ishan, do you carry anything valuable? And Ishan said, I am carrying 7 gold coins. He had 8, but he told Sanatana, I have 7 gold coins. So he said, what nonsense, why are you carrying this death nail with you? He took all the 7 gold coins from Ishan and went to the lodge keeper. He gave the 7 gold coins. My dear sir, I have these 7 gold coins. Please take them. I am actually a prisoner of the government. I am running away from the government. And I want to go to the holy Tirthas. I'll be very grateful to you if you can take these gold coins and help me to cross this mountain region. Because I cannot go by the main path. The servants of the king or soldiers, they will identify me. So the lodge keeper became very happy. He said, you know what? Before you offered them to me, I already knew that your servant had 8 gold coins in possession. No. My astrologer told me this. So I had a plan to kill you tonight and take away all these gold coins. But since you offered me, you have saved me from the sinful activity. So now I'm very much satisfied by your behavior. I don't want these gold coins. You can keep these gold coins. I'll help you also to cross this mountain region. So Sanatana Goswami said, sir, if you don't take this from me, somebody else will kill me for these. So you please take these. In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a beautiful lesson taught by the Avadhut Brahmana to Maharaj Yadu. One of those lessons was, there was a hawk, a bird who was carrying a piece of flesh or piece of meat. And there were other hawks which were very hungry. So because he was holding the piece of flesh, other hawks were chasing him, literally trying to kill him for the piece of flesh. So finally this hawk, because he was being chased by all the hawks wherever he was going, he dropped the piece of flesh. And all the hawks jumped over the flesh and they let him go. So this Avadhut Brahmana told Maharaj Yadu that as long as you have the material possessions, people become inimical towards you. Therefore, a saintly person, he let it go. He doesn't want to keep any material possessions. Because the more you keep, the more people will be inimical towards you. They want to take it away from you. But if you don't have anything, then people leave you alone. One time one person went to an astrologer. Sir, I'm having a lot of tough time. Okay, so he looked at his chart. He said, Shani and Rahu are afflicting your chart right now. So you need to do this particular puja. So you give me $1,000, I will get this puja done, and this Shani and Rahu will release you. So he said, but I don't have $1,000. Oh, you don't have 1,000? Okay, give me at least 500. I will do some shortcut puja for you. He says, but I don't have 500 either. You have 101? No, I don't have 100 also. 50? No, 50. I have $11? No, sir, I don't have 11. He says, if you don't have $11, what Shani and Rahu will do to you? You can go. But that's true. If you have more and more possession, people come chasing you. They want to take away from you. So, Sanatana Goswami understood this, and he told the prison keeper, in this lodge keeper, that please you take this money. The lodge keeper was very happy to take the money. And then he sent few of his men with Sanatana Goswami to make him cross the mountain region. So after they crossed the mountain region, then Sanatana Goswami turned to Ishan. He said, Ishan, I think you still have some balance of gold coins. Because he heard from lodge keeper there are 8, and Ishan told him 7. So Ishan said, yes, I have one more gold coin. So he said, okay, take that gold coin and go back home. Because Sanatana Goswami did not want to travel with Ishan also anymore. Because he just wanted to travel alone. Because, if you are keeping the association of somebody who is very much attached to wealth and money, especially if a person who's walking on the path of renunciation like Sanatana Goswami, it could actually become the hindrance. So Sanatana Goswami sent him home, and he started traveling alone. So he came on the way to a place where his brother-in-law, his sister's husband, he used to live. His name was Shrikant. So Sanatana Goswami met Shrikant, and he narrated Shrikant what exactly happened, how he was imprisoned, and how with the help of the money left by Rupa Goswami, he actually got released. So Shrikant used to serve the king that time, same king, Muslim king, and he used to purchase the horses for the king. So he used to get a lot of money from the king and purchase the horses and keep some commission and dispatch the horses to the king. So he was a very wealthy person as well. So he told Sanatana Goswami that why don't you stay here with me? Stay for some time, recuperate from your journey, tiredness. And Shrikant gave Sanatana Goswami one very valuable blanket because, in the cold, especially if you're traveling from mountain region, it's very cold. So he gave blanket to Sanatana Goswami. He told Sanatana Goswami, stay with me for a few months. And Sanatana Goswami said, I don't want to stay even for a few moments. I want to leave right now. So Sanatana Goswami left, and he took this blanket, valuable blanket with him. Because which would be helpful for covering from the cold, especially the cold regions. If when you're traveling to Varanasi, it's very cold, in the night time especially gets very cold. So Sanatana Goswami was using that blanket, and he traveled and came to Varanasi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that time was living in the house of Chandrasekhar. So Lord Chaitanya, he told Chandrasekhar, I think there is a Vaishnava at your doorstep. Go and bring him in. So Chandrasekhar came out. He didn't see any Vaishnava because Vaishnava have particular attire. And Sanatana Goswami had become like, he had disguised himself as a Muslim mendicant, like a darwish. So Chandrasekhar couldn't see any Vaishnava. So he went to Lord Chaitanya. He said, my dear Lord, I don't see any Vaishnava. Lord Chaitanya said, is there anyone outside? He said, there is one Muslim mendicant. Lord Chaitanya said, go bring him inside. So Chandrasekhar brought him inside, and as soon as Sanatana Goswami saw Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he fell at the feet, and Lord Chaitanya picked him up and embraced Sanatana Goswami. And then Lord Chaitanya introduced Sanatana Goswami to all the devotees, his associates. And with the understanding the mind of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the devotees took Sanatana Goswami and got him shaved and helped him to again come back to the form as a Vaishnava. And they offered him, Chandrasekhar offered him some new garments, but he refused. He accepted only some used garments, used loincloth and upavastra. And when being shaved off and wearing a Vaishnava dress, he came in front of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya looked at his valuable blanket. So Sanatana Goswami, simply because Lord Chaitanya looked at his valuable blanket, he could understand that Lord did not approve this valuable blanket with me. So he understood that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is thinking that I am going to accept the life of a mendicant as a beggar. And if I go with a valuable blanket begging around, what people will think. So he went to the ghat, Ganga Ghat, and there was a Bengali Vaishnava, who was having a very torn quilt, a very old and torn quilt. So he went and he said, Baba, would you like to exchange? Take this valuable blanket and give me yours. So first that mendicant thought he's making fun of me. He said, Baba, why are you making fun of me? He said, no, I'm not making fun of you. I'm serious. Please take this blanket and give me yours. So he happily exchanged. So Sanatana Goswami came with the old and torn quilt. So Lord Chaitanya asked him, what happened to your new blanket? And Sanatana Goswami narrated what had exactly transpired. So Lord Chaitanya became very happy. He said, this is very appropriate. Because if you go out doing madhukari, begging, with a valuable blanket, people will make fun of you. They'll think what kind of mendicant he is. And of course, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami for 2 months. And through those instructions, whatever instructions Sanatana Goswami imbibed from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he actually compiled many, many books, especially, Hari Bhakti Vilas and Brihad Bhagavatamrit, many, many books which are actually based on the teachings that he imbibed from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during those 2 months. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed before Rupa Goswami for 10 days, but the Sanatana Goswami, he spent 2 months. And he spent 2 months in Varanasi instructing. And after that, Sanatana Goswami went to Vrindavan. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had given instruction to Rupa and Sanatana Goswami to especially, what time we can go on? Is there any schedule? Sorry? Tomorrow's holiday? Okay. Is that okay? So Sanatana Goswami, he came to Vrindavan, joined Rupa Goswami in Vrindavan. And Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they actually were personification of renunciation. In fact, whenever the devotees visit Vrindavan and come to Nilachal, the devotees would be inquired, did you visit Vrindavan? Yes, I visited Vrindavan. Did you meet Rupa and Sanatana? He said, yes, we met Rupa and Sanatana, these two brothers. They are like personification of renunciation. They don't even have any hermitage or any bhajan kuti. They sleep under a tree. And they sleep under a different tree every night. They don't even sleep under the same tree 2 nights. Now you may think, what is the problem sleeping under the same tree and for 2 nights? You may think like that. But even sleeping under the tree for 2 nights could actually form attachment. I remember His Holiness Sachinananda Swami Maharaj was narrating once that one time he was traveling in Himalayas somewhere. You know, in Himalayas you see yogis are very common. The yogis are sitting under trees and meditating. So he was traveling with some Gaudiya sannyasis from Gaudiya Mutt. So some Prabhupada's god brother, he was traveling with. So Sachinand Swami was asking this Gaudiya sannyasi, who was like, guru, because he's Prabhupada's god brother, so he's almost like his guru. So he said, Maharaj, these yogis, they are so renounced, they are much, much more renounced than us. We have so much opulences within our ISKCON society, but these people are so detached. They're living under the tree. So this Gaudiya sannyasi said, you want to see the fun? So there was one yogi who was sitting on the tree. He got up and he went to take bath in Ganga. So this Gaudiya sannyasi, he told Sachin Swami, come with me. So they went and sat on the seat. He had actually a seat, grass mat. He went and sat on that seat. And they started conversing for some time. And after some time, that yogi came. And the yogi saw somebody sitting on his seat. He became so angry. He started chastising. How dare you sit on my seat? He could speak English. So he started chastising him. That how you're sitting on my seat. So he said, sorry. He got up and they started walking. So he told Sachin Swami, you see, he's a yogi. He has given up home and everything, but he's still attached to this seat. So even living under the tree, you could actually become attached to the tree. One time Srila Prabhupada was walking and he came under a tree. This was in Jew, courtyard. So under a tree, there was a floor, and the floor there was marks of birds dropping. So Prabhupada, was going around the courtyard making few rounds. So he came to that spot and with his cane he pointed out to the birds dropping. He said, what is this? He asked the devotees. And devotees looked closely. They looked at these birds dropping. And they didn't reply because they knew Prabhupada knows that is birds dropping. Prabhupada says, what is this? And nobody replied. So Prabhupada continued walking. Again, when second round they came, Prabhupada pointed same bird dropping, said, what is this? And again went around. Third time Prabhupada came, he said, what is this? So devotee said, Prabhupada, these are birds dropping. Says, that I can see, but what is this? So Prabhupada said, just see, the bird is attached to the branch of the tree where he comes and pass stool. Even where he will pass stool, that place he is also attached to. That's how you develop the birds dropping marks on this floor. Because if they come and pass stool on the same place again and again, it develops markings. So it's actually, even living under a tree, you could become attached to the tree. But Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, they would not even spend 2 nights under the same tree. One time, one of the very intimate associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Jagadanand, he came to Vrindavan. Jagadanand was actually so dear to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Jagadanand was actually incarnation of Satyabhama in Krishna Lila. And Satyabhama was a queen with a temper. So one time Jagadanand, he had gone to Bengal, and from there he brought a pot of sandalwood oil. He actually bought the sandalwood, and from that sandalwood he actually extracted the oil. He made the oil with his own hands. So he made a whole pot of sandalwood oil and he brought it to Nilachal for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he gave it to servant of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Govinda, that please massage Lord Chaitanya with this oil on the head, because sandalwood oil is very cooling. So that will reduce the bile in the body of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Govinda, he was hesitant because he knew sandalwood oil is very fragrant and Lord Chaitanya would never accept it. But he told Lord Chaitanya anyway that Jagadanand has brought this sandalwood oil and he wants you to massage your head. Lord Chaitanya said, yeah, why not? bring some massage, some massage person also and massage my whole body. I have taken sannyas only for such things only, right? That people should come and massage me. I should have fragrant oil, and when I go out, people will think that I am some dari sannyasi. I have some woman waiting for me. Therefore, I go with fragrant oils around. He said, Jagadanand is foolish. Tell him that he can offer this oil to the temple of Lord Jagannath. When the pujaris burn this sandalwood oil in the Jagannath temple, his fruit will be, his labor will be fruitful. So Govinda told Jagadanand that Lord Chaitanya said that you better give this oil to temple of Lord Jagannath, and there it will be utilized. So Jagadanand didn't like it. So Lord Chaitanya personally saw Jagadanand, next morning, and he told Jagadanand, I heard that you brought oil for me, sandalwood oil for me. I suggest that you give this oil to temple of Lord Jagannath. There they will use in ghee in the lamps, and your labor will be fruitful. And Jagadanand became very angry. He said, who told you that I brought oil for you? I didn't bring any oil for you. And he picked up the oil pot, and right in front of Lord Chaitanya, he threw to the ground. It was an earthen pot and broke into pieces, and the whole oil was spread to the ground. And then he went to his room and shut the door and bolted from inside. 3 days he didn't come out. So Lord Chaitanya, he was like Satyabhama, right? So Lord Chaitanya is scared of Jagadanand. So after 3 days, Lord Chaitanya goes at the door of Jagadanand, knocks at the door. Jagadanand, I am very hungry. Can you cook something for me? And as Jagadanand heard this, immediately he came out. For 3 days he had not taken bath, he had not eaten anything. But as soon as Lord Chaitanya said, I want to eat something, can you cook something? Immediately he came out, went to take shower and clean himself, and then came and started cooking for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then Lord Chaitanya came to eat in the afternoon, and Jagadanand had prepared so many varieties of foodstuffs. And he fed Lord Chaitanya, whatever quantity Lord Chaitanya would eat every day, Jagadanand fed him 10 times more. And finally Lord Chaitanya said, Jagadanand, please, I have already eaten so much, please stop. And then he told Jagadanand, now you sit and eat. Lord Jagadanand said, no, my dear Lord, I will eat. He told Govinda, go and massage Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because Lord Govinda used to massage Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He said, go and massage him and come back. I'll keep some prasad for you. So in this way, there was a very intimate and loving dealings. So Jagadanand one time got very upset because he had made nice, gadda, this kind of comfort, or not comforter, I'll say bedding for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He actually brought some soft cotton and took Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's some garments, and he filled that cotton inside and made nice soft gada, some bedding for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he offered to Govinda that give it to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that he'll sleep on that. So Lord Chaitanya, when he got this bedding, he said, Sannyasi is not supposed to sleep on the beddings. No, I cannot accept it. So then, because Jagadananda was concerned that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was sleeping on the floor, and Lord Chaitanya's body was so delicate. But Lord Chaitanya, as a sannyasi, he would rigidly follow the sannyas principles. So Sarup Damodar Goswami, he actually took the 2 outer garments of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, stitched them nicely, and then he took the banana leaves. With his nails, he made very fine pieces of banana leaves and filled that entire thing with banana leaves and created a very thin bedding for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which was little soft, And Lord Chaitanya accepted that. So Jagadanand didn't like it. I made cotton bedding, he did not accept. But he accepted, Sarup Damodar Goswami's bedding. So he was upset, and he told Lord Chaitanya, I want to go to Vrindavan. I don't want to stay here. So Lord Chaitanya refused to give him permission, and he couldn't go without permission of Lord Chaitanya. You know, so he told Sarup Damodar Goswami that I actually want to visit Vrindavan for a very long time. But whenever I ask Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he says, you want to go to Vrindavan because you are angry with me. You know. And if you go in that angry mood, you will simply go there and blaspheme me, and you will, criticize me everywhere in Vrindavan. But I don't want to, criticize, but I just want to visit Vrindavan. I am very much longing to go to Vrindavan. So Sarup Damodar Goswami went and told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Jagadanand wants to visit Vrindavan. Please give him your permission. So Lord Chaitanya called Jagadanand and he said, you go to Vrindavan, but you should not associate with Brajbasis. He said, because Brajbasi, they are on a different platform of devotion. You should live in close association of Sanatana Goswami. So Lord Chaitanya instructed him that you should go and live with Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavan. And, and he said, you should soon come back. You shouldn't stay very long in Vrindavan. So Jagadanand went to Vrindavan, and he was living in Vrindavan with Sanatana Goswami. So one time, Sanatana Goswami was cooking, and Jagadanand Pandit was actually cooking. He actually washed the rice and other ingredients, and he was having cooking pot there. And Sanatana Goswami came, and he was wearing a saffron lion cloth on his head. So when Jagadanand saw this saffron cloth on the head of Sanatana Goswami, he thought, this must be the lion cloth of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya must have given to Sanatana Goswami. So he became very happy, but externally he pretended as if he doesn't know. He said, Sanatana, where did you get this lion cloth from? This saffron cloth that you're wearing on your forehead. And Sanatana Goswami said, Mukunda Saraswati gave it to me. And as soon as Sanatana Goswami heard this, he became so angry. He picked up the cooking pot, he went to beat Sanatana Goswami. That how can you wear some other sannyasi's lion cloth on your forehead? And he told Sanatana Goswami that you are one of the prime followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How can you do something like this? So Sanatana Goswami actually smiled and he told Jagadanand, actually, I wanted to see your love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As far as this cloth is concerned, it has no use for me. I will just throw it away. But I just wanted to see your love. How much intensely you love Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So after some time, Jagadanand returned to Vrindavan, to Jagannath Puri. After a while, Sanatana Goswami, he wanted to meet Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he traveled from Vrindavan and he came to Jagannath Puri. He arrived in Jagannath Puri in the month of Falgun, Chaitra. In the month of Chaitra, he arrived, to Jagannath Puri. And especially month of Chaitra, Vaishakha and Jyeshta are very, very hot. So generally when you say month of Chaitra, Chaitra is April, May. And Vaishakha is May, June. So these are, especially 2 months which are very, very hot in Jagannath Puri. So he came during the month of Chaitra and Vaishakha month. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tested Sanatana Goswami. And how he tested him is, one day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sent an invitation to Sanatana Goswami that you come in the lunch time in the afternoon to take lunch with me. So there is a temple of Yameshwar in Jagannath Puri, which is actually on the seashore. So Sanatana Goswami, when he came to Jagannath Puri, actually on the way to Jagannath Puri, he drank some contaminated water. and he developed some itching sores all over his body. So from the source of his body, the liquid pus was oozing, you know. So he had all these itching sores all over his body. So Sanatana Goswami was thinking that because of this itching sores, my body has become inauspicious and abominable. So when I reach Jagannath Puri, I will actually, during the Rath Yatra festival, I will throw my body under the wheel of Jagannath's cart, and I'll finish my life because my life is useless now. So with this intention, he came to Jagannath Puri, and he was living in Siddha Bakula. He actually came to Siddha Bakula where Haridas Thakur used to live. So Lord Chaitanya, he was living in Jagannath Puri, and Haridas Thakur actually came to reside with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Haridas Thakur, because he was born in a Muslim family, he was not given entrance into Jagannath's temple. So Lord Chaitanya would go every day in the morning to Jagannath temple to see the Uppal Bhoga offering, which is like Mangal Arti Bhoga. And then he would come to meet Haridas Thakur every day in the morning. Because Haridas Thakur could not go to see Lord Jagannath. Lord Jagannath in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu every day would come to meet Haridas Thakur. So, when Sanatana Goswami arrived to Nilachal, he went to reside with Haridas Thakur. So next morning when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to meet Haridas, he saw Sanatana Goswami offering obeisance from distance. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became so happy. He went close and he wanted to embrace Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami, he retreated. No, my dear Lord, no, my body is abominable. I have these itching sores all over my body. Please don't touch me. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went and forcefully embraced Sanatana Goswami. And all the oozing substance from his body, Sanatana Goswami's body, went on the beautiful form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord Chaitanya had not even slightest disgust with that. So Sanatana Goswami was thinking in the mind that actually I came to Nilachal to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but I am committing offenses because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is embracing me, and all this oozing substance going on his body, I am committing so much offenses, to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I should finish my body as soon as possible. But he was waiting for Jagannath's Rath Yatra. And this was happening every single day. Lord Chaitanya was coming and embracing Sanatana Goswami every morning. And all the oozing substance was going from his body to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now Lord Chaitanya, if wanted, he could have cured Sanatana Goswami like this, right? Because he's the Supreme Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cured Vasudev Dutt simply by his touch. Vasudev Dutt was having leprosy. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cured him from the leprosy simply by his touch. But Sanatana Goswami's oozing, these itching sores were not cured. In fact, Lord Chaitanya would come and embrace him every day. So one day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Sanatana Goswami that, come for lunch at the temple of Yameshwar. So Sanatana Goswami, there were two ways by which he could reach the Yameshwar temple. One was through the Simhadwaram of Lord Jagannath's temple, which was actually having a lot of trees on both the sides, so he could go through the shade of the trees. And other was through the beach side, which was actually no trees and beach in the afternoon. You can imagine sand becomes very hot. So Sanatana Goswami was thinking that if I go through the temple side, the Jagannath's pujaris are coming in and out. If by chance any one of them comes in contact with me, they will be polluted. They will be, becoming impure by coming in contact with me. And then they will go and serve Jagannath. There will be an offense from my side to Lord Jagannath. So he said, I cannot go from that route. So he went from the seashore. In the afternoon, especially when he was going for lunch, the sand was so hot. This was the month of Vaishaka. Vaishaka is super hot month. In fact, there is the animal who's called Vaishakanandan. Does anyone knows Vaishakanandan? Donkey. Donkey is called Vaishakanandan. Other animals, they don't like the summer season, but donkey likes very much this month of Vaishaka. He's called Vaishakanandan. Vaishakanandan means he becomes extremely happy by the summer season. There is psychology behind it. Does anyone know psychology? So donkey, they like to eat grass, right? So in the monsoon season, there's grass everywhere. Okay. So donkey, no matter how much grass he eats, he sees everywhere grass. So he thinks, actually, I'm not eating much. So he actually psychologically start becoming weak. But in the summer season, the grass is all dried up. So little grass he eats, he looks behind, everything is clear. So he thinks, I ate so much. So he becomes very healthy in the summer season, especially thinking that I ate so much. I'm working very hard and I'm eating nicely. So therefore he's called Vaishakanandan. He becomes very happy in the summer season. No, don't say that. So summer season is especially super hot. And so Sanatana Goswami, when he was walking from seashore, his feet got blistered. So when he reached the Yameshwar temple, Lord Chaitanya had already finished his lunch. So Lord Chaitanya saw Sanatana and he was taking rest that time. So Sanatana Goswami came and Govind actually, gave him the remnants of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got up and he saw Sanatana Goswami, says, Sanatana, when did you arrive here? And Sanatana Goswami said, just a little bit while Lord, you were taking rest, that time I arrived. So Lord Chaitanya looked at his feet and he said, my God, your feet are so blistered. Which path did you come from? And Sanatana Goswami said, I came from the beach side, my Lord. He said, but why did you do that? You could have come from the Simhadwara side. The whole path is shady and has so many trees there. He said, my Lord, if I would have come from there, and if any Jagannath Pujari would have touched me, and then they would go and serve Lord Jagannath, that would be an offense on my part. So I couldn't do that. So Lord Chaitanya was so pleased with the humility of Sanatana Goswami. So this went on for some time. Lord Chaitanya would come every day and embrace Sanatana Goswami. So Sanatana Goswami, one day Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Siddha Bakula and he told Sanatana Goswami, he actually told Haridas Thakur, my dear Haridas, just see the character of this person. Pointing to Sanatana Goswami, he said, just see the character of this person. Sanatana Goswami has already given his body to me. So his body is no more his body, it's actually my property. But now he wants to finish off this body by committing suicide. And Sanatana Goswami was shocked because he didn't reveal his plan to anyone. So how did Lord Chaitanya get to know? Because of course Lord Chaitanya is the Supreme Lord. So Sanatana Goswami, he was little amazed, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Haridas Thakur, just see the character of this person. He has dedicated his body to me. So his body is my property, and now he wants to finish this property of mine. My dear Sanatan, this is not appropriate. How can you misappropriate another man's property? This body is no more yours. It's my property. And Sanatana Goswami said, my dear Lord, I am so insignificant. If I die, there's no difference. This doesn't make any difference because you have so many wonderful associates. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, my dear Sanatana, if by committing suicide, if I could attain pleasure of Krishna, if I could attain Krishna's lotus feet, I would give up my life million times in a moment. But that is not the way you can attain Krishna's mercy, by giving up the body. No. So in this way, uh, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised Sanatana Goswami. He said, you cannot, you know, you cannot pursue this intention of yours or to commit suicide. So Sanatana Goswami had to give up that intention. And Lord Chaitanya went and again embraced Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami was even much more miserable. Now he cannot commit suicide and he has to tolerate this, Lord Chaitanya embracing him. So Sanatana Goswami was very depressed, and one day he went to Jagdanand and he told Jagdanand, I think it's 9:07. I'll finish in 8 minutes. Is that okay? 9:15? Okay. So Lord Chaitanya, Sanatana Goswami told Jagdanand, my dear Jagdanand, I had come with the intention that I'll commit suicide by throwing my body under the wheel of Jagannath's cart. But Lord Chaitanya has baffled that plan. And Lord Chaitanya comes and embraces me every day. And all this obnoxious substance from my body goes on the Lord's body. So that makes me very unhappy. What should I do? But sometimes when our intelligence doesn't work, the Vaishnavas can actually help. So Jagdanand told Sanatana Goswami that Lord Chaitanya has already given Vrindavan to you and your brother, Rup Goswami. So you have a mission there. You have a service to Lord Chaitanya in Vrindavan. So you should leave and go to Vrindavan. And Sanatana Goswami said, that is very good advice. Actually, I should go to Vrindavan. Thank you so much, Jagdanand. You have actually saved me from, by giving this wonderful advice. So next day when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to meet Haridas Thakur and Sanatana Goswami, and Lord Chaitanya went to embrace Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami said, no, my Lord, please don't touch me. And Lord Chaitanya still forcefully embraced Sanatana Goswami. And Sanatana Goswami with heavy heart, he told my Lord, I had come here to attain the good fortune, but I see I have attained exactly opposite of it. My body is so abominable, and yet you come and embrace me. That makes me very unhappy. So I had consulted Jagdanand yesterday, and he has given me very good advice that I should go to Vrindavan. Lord Chaitanya said, what? Jagdanand has audacity to give you advice? Jaga, he is actually a very naughty boy. And Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana Goswami, you are actually on the level of my advisor, because you advised me that I shouldn't go to Vrindavan with so many people. And Jaga has audacity to advise you? No. I cannot tolerate this transgression of Vaishnava etiquette. So Sanatana Goswami said, my Lord, now I can understand the position of Jagdanand. He is so dear to you that you can chastise him. You can make him drink the nectar of your chastisement. But to me, you just offer the praise, which is like the juice of bitter nimba and nishinda. Nimba and nishinda are two. Nimba is nothing but neem, and nishinda is another bitter substance. So he said, my Lord, you are actually making me drink the bitter juice of nimba and nishinda in the form of praise. But you are feeding Jagdanand the nectar of your chastisement. So in this way, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu heard this, he became little embarrassed. He said, no, it's not like that, Sanatana Goswami. And of course, there was a beautiful conversation. Keeping the track of time, I won't go into the discussion. Very sweet conversation between Sanatana Goswami, Haridas Thakur and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu finally again went to embrace Sanatana Goswami, and before that conversation, before that embrace, Lord Chaitanya told Sanatana Goswami, my dear Sanatan, if I would see your body as abominable, because every body is made of earth, water, fire, air, ether, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. If I was to see your body as abominable, then I would be transgressing my sannyas dharma. Because sannyasi is not supposed to see fragrant or obnoxious substances. He's supposed to see everything as made of Krishna's material energy. No? So if I was to reject you, Krishna would reject me. No? So saying this, Lord Chaitanya actually went to embrace Sanatana Goswami, and Sanatana Goswami retreated, no my Lord, please don't touch me. But this time when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to embrace Sanatana Goswami, and when he embraced Sanatana Goswami, all the itching sores from Sanatana Goswami's body disappeared. And he regained his beautiful form, beautiful body. And then Sanatana Goswami was instructed by Lord Chaitanya that please stay for some more time. So Sanatana Goswami stayed for a few more months in Jagannath Puri. And then he returned to Vrindavan to execute the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Vrindavan. There are actually many, many pastimes of Sanatana Goswami in Vrindavan. But I know it's already 9:15 and devotees might be hungry also. So, respecting the time, I would stop here. I'm sorry I went a little over time today. I didn't keep the track of time. So, please forgive me. Thank you. Thank you very much. We can continue maybe till 11 if you want. Yeah? No, no. Are you serious? Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any questions maybe? Yes, bro?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji Dhanot Pranam. Prabhu, amazing class. Thank you so much for such nectarian, sharing nectarian pastimes. Prabhu, one question I had regarding the last line you mentioned about Mahaprabhu saying that the body is material energy of Krishna. I was just reading Chaitanya Charitamrita. I'm forgetting the name of the devotee, but while being there, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu only ate at Tapan Mishra's house and not at some other devotee's house because they were not Brahmanas. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Why that then, Prabhu?
So, Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra, they were the two devotees. So, Lord Chaitanya would stay with Chandrasekhar, but he would eat food only at the house of Tapan Mishra. Because Chandrasekhar kind of belonged to Shudra community. Now, 500 years ago, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was performing his Leela, his pastimes on this earth, the culture was very different. Nowadays, of course, there is no differentiation of caste. Of course, in villages in India, you still find that, but the system was very rigid. A Brahmana is not supposed to eat food cooked by anyone other than Brahmana. And especially a sannyasi, he shouldn't eat food cooked by anyone other than a sannyasi. That's a Vedic injunction. Okay? So yes, we are supposed to see through the eyes of scriptures, but we are still supposed to follow injunctions of the scriptures. We cannot be whimsically following whatever comes in our mind. So the Vedic injunction is a sannyasi should eat food cooked by only a Brahmana. And especially certain classes of Brahmana only, not any Brahmana. Like, one of the disciples of Madhavendra Puri was, but he was a Brahmana from Vrindavan, but he was, I'm forgetting the name exactly. What was that? Kind of a low category of Brahmana. So a sannyasi would not eat even in the home of such brahmanas. He would eat only food cooked by some high class brahmanas. Now, when you say high class or low class brahmanas or shudras, it is because of twofold reason. One is the standard of cleanliness, you know, because Srila Prabhupada mentions in Bhagavad Gita, Ahara Shuddho Sattva Shuddhi. Sattva Shuddho Dhruva Smriti. Smriti Lambe Sarva Granthiman Vipramokshay. If you want moksha, if you want to get liberated from the material existence, then that begins with Ahara Shuddho. Begins with foodstuffs being purified. So your food that you are eating should be pure. So Brahmanas cook the food with utmost purity. Now, apparently a person who is of Shudra Varna, means Shudra means mentality, will also, if he's practicing Vaishnavism, he may also follow some basic standards, but he may not even realize that he's doing something, inappropriate while cooking. Like I'll just give simple example. Srila Prabhupada said, we use, cooking pots, right? Stainless steel cooking pot. Prabhupada said, if the stainless steel cooking pot develops even one spot inside or outside, which you cannot remove by washing, then it becomes unfit for cooking. It should be thrown away. Now just imagine, in your own home, suppose, if you take all the pots and scrutinizingly look at them, will you not find a single spot from inside or outside? You will find some stains, right? And Prabhupada said that is unfit for cooking for Krishna. The spot from inside as well as outside should be spotless. Then you can cook for Krishna in that pot. So this is a level of Brahmanical cooking. Now, many times while cleaning the pots, some sabji or something is stick to the pot and we don't even scrap it, and then we realize, oh, this is still left, It happens, right? So, in Vedic culture, Brahmanas would be of utmost care, taking care of standard of cleanliness. That is one aspect. Second aspect is consciousness. So, a Brahmana would not only have the pure parts and ingredients, but he will also have pure consciousness. While cooking, what you are thinking, what you are meditating on, that also goes into the food. And especially for a sannyasi, it is so crucial to have the food which is cooked by the first class brahmanas with good consciousness. Because while cooking, if your mind is agitated with passion and ignorance, that will impact the food quality as well. And for sannyasis, that is actually of very important, great significance and important. So, because of twofold reason. Purity, that physical purity, and subtle purity, consciousness. Because of these two reasons, sannyasis would generally avoid taking food in homes of anyone. Like, even in case of Ajamil, we know Ajamil, when he was fallen Brahmana, he was living with the prostitute. That time, some saintly persons visited, because they had visited before when he was a pure Brahmana, as a young boy, So they had taken meal at his home. So after many, many years they came and they didn't know that Ajamil had become fallen. So they were asking villagers, where is Ajamil's home? So people looking at them, you want to go to Ajamil's home? Yes. Oh, there he lives. Go. Sarcastically they told him, yeah, go there. And so they couldn't understand why they are making sarcasm. So when they reached the house of Ajamil and they saw the atmosphere in the home, then they realized, oh. And Ajamil already prepared food for them. So they didn't eat any food. They simply took the water in his home. Because, sometime when you're taking the water, even, personally I have experience, especially when I used to do a lot of seminars in India to different corporates. So I remember one place I had gone for giving a stress management seminar, and it was supposed to be 8 hours seminar from morning 8 to evening 5 o'clock, 4 or 5 o'clock. So 8 hours we were speaking, you need a lot of water, right? So I had asked them to bring water. So they brought the glass, which was so dirty from inside. While drinking water, you could see it's so dirty, right? So even drinking water could be actually sometime austerity, some places. So the saintly person drank water only a house of Ajam. They didn't eat any food. But while leaving, they told him, you know, your wife is pregnant now with the 10th child. You can name him Narayan. So that's how Ajamil ended up in naming his youngest child as Narayan. And because these Vaishnavas, these Brahmanas, Bhakti Vedanta, they actually accepted little water at his home. They blessed him to be liberated from this abominable life. But otherwise, this saintly persons would try to avoid eating or drinking anything from the homes of such people because it's contaminating. If somebody is very powerful, Vaishnava or powerful sage, he can eat, and he'll not be contaminated. Like Agastya Rishi, he could eat, in the house of Ilvala. Ilvala? No, not Ilvala. Vatapi and Ilvala, yeah. So he could eat even the flesh and not be contaminated. So, but in general, the sannyasi would try to avoid. Hope that makes sense. Yes, ma'am? Yes, Aradhya.
So, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like got very mad at Jagannath.
Jagdananda.
Yeah. So, why did Jagadananda not eat or take bath for 3 days? Because he was mad himself as well.
Well, Jagdananda expressed his anger to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For 3 days, didn't talk to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, didn't come out, didn't take bath, didn't eat, didn't drink anything. So sometimes it happens, when in the home also you see sometime mama is mad, she doesn't talk to papa, right? Yeah, papa is mad, doesn't talk to mama. Happens, right? Same thing. It happens, right? You have seen that. So same thing happens between Krishna and his devotees as well. Make sense? Very good. Yes, Madhuri. So Srila Prabhupada said that we shouldn't go, if you are going alone to Vrindavan, we shouldn't go for more than 3 days. So if you are visiting alone by yourself, go for 3 days and after 3 days you should leave Vrindavan. If you're going in the association of devotee, then you can stay, as long as devotees are staying, maybe week, 2 weeks, or even sometime month, that whole Vrindavan parikrama. In the association of devotees is fine. But if you're going alone by ourselves, or maybe, with our family, then we shouldn't stay more than 3 days. Mayapur is more exception because it's Audharya Dham. So you can go there and stay longer. But in general, for Vrindavan, that is the prescription. You shouldn't go to more than 3 days. There are a lot of devotees who moved to Vrindavan, but Prabhupada actually mentioned that only a person who wants to live renounced life as a sannyasi, he should go to Vrindavan. He shouldn't move to Vrindavan as a householder or as a businessman or, doing profession. Vrindavan is not the place for that. Vrindavan is the place where you want to spend rest of your life doing bhajan. you know. So Prabhupada especially said Vrindavan is the place for sannyasis and brahmacharis. It's not meant for householders to go and settle there and do business or job staying there. It's not appropriate.
My brother is married into a family from Vrindavan, so they've been there for centuries. But so I was just wondering, like,
See,
there are so many
Brajavasis,
people in Vrindavan.
so there are Brajavasis
Yes.
who are living there, that's okay, but
Yeah.
this is specially for Gaudiya Vaishnavas who actually follow the line of Srila Prabhupada and our Gaudiya Vaishnavism. They shouldn't, if they were born in Vrindavan, that's a different thing, but ordinarily we shouldn't go to Vrindavan to settle there, to have our household life there. No. Prabhupada did not recommend that. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Mhm.
Sanatana Goswami's pastime is very dear to me, and it is such a nice narration. Even Aradhya was sitting the entire lecture. She didn't sit for an entire lecture, and in between she's saying the lecture is very nice. I like it.
Haribo. Aradhya has so much liking for Sanatana Goswami. Therefore she said.
Thank you, Prabhu, for
Very
this
well.
pastime and on an appropriate day. So Sanatana Goswami is our Sambandhacharya, and then why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu test him so much with respect to that source? He had that source, and also he has to go through several days of that thing, right, Prabhu? Is it just to glorify Sanatana Goswami, or he's a Sambandhacharya, he's such a exalted devotee. Even he himself told that is higher than Jagadananda Pandit. So,
Actually, I somehow that forgot to mention this point. Thank you very much for bringing that point up. So, Mahajano Yena Gata Sapantha. There are 12 Mahajans mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. And Mahabharata says that one should follow in the footsteps of Mahajan. So we have 12 Mahajans mentioned in Bhagavatam, but beside that also there are so many Mahajans. And Sanatana Goswami is also one of those Mahajans. So we are supposed to follow in the footsteps of Mahajan. So Sanatana Goswami's life is actually an example of how Mahajans are dedicated in the cause of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. You see, Rupa Goswami, he could easily retire. Sanatana Goswami had a lot of difficulty. Right? Now, although Sanatana Goswami was imprisoned, and on the way to Varanasi, there was, this hotel keeper who could have, planned to even kill him. And then he had itching sores when he was, visiting Jagannath Puri. All this while, Sanatana Goswami never had this thought, my dear Lord, I am your devotee. Why this is happening to me? Why is it that my brother could easily retire and I couldn't retire easily? No. Mahajan is one who, under any circumstances and any situation of life, is dedicated to serve the Supreme Lord. So Sanatana Goswami is actually a great Mahajan, an example which is actually to demonstrate us that no matter what difficulties or what challenges we face in our path of Krishna consciousness, we just continue with gracious heart and never put a question to the Lord, my Lord, why I have to go through this? I remember Radhan Maharaj always quotes about from one of our dear God brother, Sto Krishna Prabhu. Sto Krishna Prabhu was actually a very dear friend of mine. We lived together in the ashram, and in his last days, he told Maharaj, he was actually a young brahmachari, a young boy, He died when he was hardly in his 30s, early 30s. He was just married that time. His wife was pregnant with the first child. and he was at the last stage of cancer. So just before, few days, maybe just few days before he departed from this world, when he died, he was asking Maharaj, the question is coming in my mind, why Krishna is showing so much mercy to me? What I have done that Krishna is showing so much mercy to me? So many devotees are coming and praying for me. I mean, of course, I have got this disease because of my own karma, because of my karmic backlog. But why devotees are showing so much mercy to me? What do I do? Why do I deserve this? He's not asking why I have to die now. He's saying why Krishna is so merciful to me. This is a sign of Mahajan. So Sanatana Goswami is actually one of the great Mahajans. From his life example, we learn that no matter how much challenges and difficulties we may have, we never bring that thought in our mind that why I have to go through this difficulty. We just feel fortunate to be engaged in the service of Guru and Krishna, the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Sanatana Goswami was dedicated without any doubt in his mind. He never asked this question, why I have to go through these difficulties. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord actually tries to show through the life of his devotees what actually is a Mahajan and how we can actually follow in the footsteps of Mahajan. Hope that answers your question. Very, very. I think Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Sanatana Goswami ki, Shri Guru Prabhupada ki.
His Grace Shankarananda Prabhu ki. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Prabhu, thank you so much for giving us your valuable association and choosing the topic so apt for today. Thank you for the wonderful lecture. And thank you for always coming from such a distance for the benefit of all of us. Please keep coming often. We really long for this Sangha every month. Thank you so much again.
Thank you for opening your home to all of us.
Thank you for accommodating. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.